Hey everybody, this is that drummer guy, Josh Runquist, and I am here with Jonny from Job for a Cowboy, who just put on one hell of a show tonight here at the Rave in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for Summer Slaughter. How's it going, man?
Hello, I'm here at the ex-Eagles Ballroom, the Rave, whatever it's called now. I'm so used to it being called the Eagles Ballroom. So.
I am too, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure back at home when a venue name changes, it's always a bit awkward to get used to it, so.
Yeah, it's kind of happening right now, like, I'm usually from the Twin Cities area, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah.
There's like this brand new rock and metal venue that used to be called The Brick. Now it's called Mill City Nights.
I don't understand, when a club owner changes, why they just wouldn't keep it the same name, It seems like it just makes things more confusing for them. I never really understood that concept.
Yeah, because you would think people would be familiar with the name and it would get more people.
I mean, especially this place. This place has had so many shows over the years, and giant shows, small shows, a lot of memorable shows here. I never understood why a new owner would ever want to change the name, so whatever.
I guess it depends on the owner.
Yeah.
But on to the great stuff. Right before I hit record here, as I said, the last time I saw you guys was Sons of the Underground in 2007.
Yes.
And after seeing you guys tonight, anyone who hasn't kept track of you would realize a huge evolution in sound for you guys.
Yeah.
What seemed to cause that?
I know, that's crazy that you mentioned Sounds of the Underground. I think I was about 19 or 20 years old then, and obviously that's, a lot of time has passed since then. And but the evolution of the band is just kind of one of those scenarios where so many bands in the extreme metal genre, death metal, whatever, especially death metal, they find their niche, they get comfortable with it, and they put out the same record over and over and over again, which is fine. I feel like they like to kind of create a specific sound and keep rolling with it. But I don't know, with us, we like to evolve over and over again. We like to switch the band up. We like to keep ourselves interested. We like to challenge ourselves. If you listen to Doom EP to Demonocracy, it's just night and day. It sounds like two absolutely different bands. And a part of that is when we wrote the Doom EP, I was 16, 17 years old. I'm sure. How old are you now? The curiosity.
I will be 24 on Sunday.
24. I'm sure when you were 17, 16 years old, your musical taste has changed quite drastically since then.
Oh, very much so.
When we put out the Doom EP, we got so much exposure and recognition that, it was just weird to the fact that people made their decision on us and were judging us before we really even had the chance to put out a full length. So, I don't know, it's just a natural progression, and we just like to, change it up, I guess.
Yeah. And, I've been a fan since the Doom EP, and I've been following you guys over the years. And honestly, it does feel like you guys have only gotten better and better. I mean, I can hear it instrumentation-wise, vocally, everything. I mean, it's getting more mature in the death metal sound.
Yeah.
But it's just getting constantly better.
I appreciate it. And, we are already talking, having the talk with the next record already. The record only came out in April, and we have all these ideas and thoughts of what we want to do for the next record. We're just the type of band that likes to evolve over and over again. And, it loses fans and gains fans. But with us, we just, I hate to say, I don't want it to come out the wrong way, but, we're really into the idea of just keeping ourselves happy. If we really want to make the fans happy, we'd be playing breakdowns. We'd be the Doom EP over and over again. Honestly, we'd probably be making more money if we were doing that. But I just feel like if we really want to progress and be happy in the band, we just have to, evolve.
Right. And the thing for me, like being a fan, I can tell when a band is faking it. I much rather love a band that actually wants to put out music they actually want to play rather than just like trying to appease everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the artistic value in it, and if you're not happy with what you're playing, it's going to come through. You got to be happy with what you're doing.
No, I mean, I gotta agree with you. So many bands in this genre, you could tell if a band's just kind of doing it for the sake of money and, just writing, just writing what they originally had, milking it as much as possible. With us, there's no milking involved. I think you listen to every record, it's changed, and again, like I said, people dislike it and other people like it, and in the end, it's just trying to, challenge yourselves, challenge each other, just becoming better musicians in a better band. So that's the way we look at it.
Yeah. Because you got to have that kind of progression as a band. Like some bands like AC/DC or Slayer, they're comfortable playing with their original sound, but other bands want to explore and progress as musicians. And I've always leaned towards that whenever I listen to it.
Yeah.
In speaking of the progression route, Summer Slaughter, there's Periphery's playing upstairs right now.
Yeah, we can hear him. We can hear him right now.
You can kind of hear him, yeah. But it's also got Cannibal Corpse, Exhumed, Job for a Cowboy. What do you think of the kind of almost hodgepodge of metal going on there?
I think it's really cool, especially for a tour and a show. It starts at 2, ends at midnight. You have to mix it up a bit, the bands like Between the Buried and Me and Periphery that stick out a bit more. The stereotypical, death metal, progressive death metal, traditional death metal. I think this is the most, or even gent, I guess. A lot of different genres floating around. I think it's really cool. When we first started, we played with a lot of different bands. We mixed up a lot with even hardcore bands, and obviously it's not like that anymore. But I almost wish it was, because it kind of benefits everyone when you can have a variety of genres playing. Exposing your band to different people who normally would not give your band a chance, and people will get an experience of your band. And I don't know. I just wish there was more variety in touring these days. I feel like it's lacking. I feel like a lot of tours are very just strictly, death metal, hardcore, grindcore, progressive metal, you name it. And I just really wish there was more of a variety. I feel like it benefits everyone, and I feel like bands normally don't. Not bands, but fans don't want to listen to the same thing for 5-6 hours for one night.
Oh, very much so. That's what made me so excited about the Shockwave Festival I was going to be hopefully starting, because it basically had every genre except black metal and power metal. Those were the only two I could think of that didn't have it, and then it eventually fell apart. But I like the idea of exposing as much different kinds of metal as possible to the masses.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like in Europe, the Wacken Festival, Download Festival, even Brutal Assault, they have... Download Festival is kind of outside of the loop. They have rock, pop, everything you could think of, death metal, even black metal sometimes. It's just, it's strange to me how in Europe festivals and tours have much more variety. In Europe, it's so much more strict, and it's almost kind of frustrating to me.
Does that seem to go with the fan base too? When you tour America compared to Europe? Do you notice a huge fan base change? Every country's different. I think being an international band, when we go to a different country, especially Europe's one of those countries for metal everyone flies out there for. The fans appreciate bands from other countries playing. And I think in America, people just get so used to having everything that they just kind of, get really strict and elitist about their music. And it's kind of frustrating, I guess, to an extent. And that's one of the things I try to do with my radio shows. I never want to I'll maybe play 2 or 3 songs of the same genre, but then I want to move it to something else and make it flow together really well, because I love exposing the best music that's out there, not just what the labels are telling you to listen to or anything like that. Just the best stuff that's out there that people need to check out because it's good.
That's awesome. Regardless of genre, why be naive of what you listen to? Just listen to as much as you can, give whatever you can a chance, and who knows? A lot of people are probably missing out on a lot just for the fact that they're so strict in what they listen to, and I don't know. I mean, our band, even all the bands on the tour, they listen to everything, every genre to an extent. You know, obviously people have their pet peeves and their likes, and it's weird. If any death metal band told you that all they listened to was death metal, if they were in a band and touring, they'd totally be lying to you. I mean, if you're on tour and doing it every day and seeing all the other bands doing it every day, you have to listen to something else. And I don't know, it's something I never really understood.
I'm kind of like that too. Like, my favorite style of music is always going to be like progressive metal, but there are some days or even weeks where I won't listen to it because I just want to discover everything else that's out there.
Just need a break sometimes, you know? You go through phases.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I don't even listen to rock or metal. I just want to discover everything else that's out there, maybe get some new influences.
Yeah. I mean, out of curiosity, I'm going to interview you. Who are some of your favorite all-time bands or artists outside of metal?
There's this kind of progressive alternative rock band called Dredge.
Yeah.
That is one of my all-time favorite bands.
Dredge is awesome.
Yeah. And bands like Mute Math, I'm glad they're getting the exposure that they are. Yeah, I mean, any bands that like really showcase their talent, not just trying to write 3 chords and make a million, you know, just like making good songs.
Yeah.
I can appreciate any good band that does that. And that's what I see in you guys, too. Is like, you can hear the progression over the years. Like, you were really like fine-pointing everything together and making the best possible songs that you can.
We're trying, man. I mean, I feel like, to go back to our band, I feel like we've been driving away from that. I don't know. I think you can tell when you listen to Demonocracy, we were having a lot of fun with it, and we were. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a few years late on this, but do you ever still get fans that really want you to go back to the old stuff?
Of course. We hear it all day, every day.
That makes me so disappointed.
I mean, I'm not surprised. That genre still hasn't quite fizzled out entirely yet. I mean, to be realistic, we were originally a deathcore band. I mean, I was 17 years old. We all progressively were around that average age of about 17 writing that music. And again, it's just so weird that we got so much recognition, so much notoriety for that. It's just, looking back at it, it's just so odd to me. It all happened so fast before we can even write a full length. And I don't know. I mean, it's really simple. It's really easy. To an extent, it's very gimmicky looking back at it. So I guess I understand it, but I mean, it's one of those things that younger kids obviously still like to dig into and like. I guess it's just for the kids. I guess the younger fan, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, they just want like something like Heavy and Brutals and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
and you know, there's nothing wrong with that once in a while.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, just like any black metal album, any death metal album, it's good in the right dosage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So going back to the new album that you're talking about, do you have any? What are the ideas that you want to get for the next album? Like, where would you want to go with it?
You were talking about the next album.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Obviously, not really. We haven't even really built the pieces to the puzzle yet, but I don't know. We just want to get weird.
I like that.
We just want to get weird as possible and, you know, experiment with different things. Obviously, our band hasn't been the most quote-unquote experimental band. We've just been the band that has progressed and matured more and more. I think with the next record, we want to take a super curveball and just get a little weird and try new things. I feel like it's going to be a much slower record. You know, songs like Tarnished Gluttony and Ruination, kind of that more weird, creepy, slower vibe, groovy type of thing.
Nice.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? It might be the fastest album we ever put out, but it's so early to really confirm anything.
Yeah, but I love hearing that you want to experiment even more. I think that's a great sign. I mean, say like the album doesn't even turn out the way you want it to, which would suck. At least you take the chance, and you know, this is what we want to try, and hopefully the fans will dig it.
Yeah, I mean, I just like bands that take chances. I think we all do. It's just exciting, I guess. You know, when when you really like a band and you grow up with them and they take a super curveball and they change, it's awesome sometimes, and sometimes it really sucks, I guess, you know? So.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Say you get the opportunity to do a headlining tour like next year, something like that for the new album.
Yeah, we're planning on it.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
Who would, if you had the choice, who would you want to bring out as support?
Oh, so I hate the name dropping question. I mean, the easiest case would be like our friends, like Revocation, Misery Index, even Exhumed and Goat War. I don't know. It's always a hard one to. The name dropping questions are always tough. I wish I had my iPod and get a little more deeper with it. Throw the more obscure, maybe unnoticed bands, but I mean, just our friends is always the best scenario, I guess.
Yeah, true. And there's so many good choices out there too.
Absolutely.
So with the new album, how have been people receiving it so far?
Surprisingly, really well. I mean, we put out the record. It generally had, I'd say, 90% really good reviews and reactions. Obviously, there's still the people who wish we'd go back to the Doom EP era, but I don't know. It's always good to hear you put out a record and no one really has anything bad to say. I feel like people more and more are catching on, being more appreciative for the fact that we're maturing as a band, just progressing and really finding your craft is being a band with musicianship and technicality, and it's been cool.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
So, like, compared to what you're doing now, I mean, do you still enjoy playing the older stuff, or are you trying to phase that out more, or what would it be up to you?
I mean, we don't want to phase everything out entirely. I feel like, if you see any band you've grown up with, you want to see some of their older material.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really do a whole lot of older stuff on this tour just for the fact we have 30 minutes. There's not a whole lot we can do.
True.
But no, I mean, we'll never phase it out entirely. We'll always play it to an extent. You just have to accept what you've done in the past and swallow it and roll with it, I guess.
And that's a good sign as well, because like you said, you don't want to abandon what got your start and
exactly.
where you can progress.
I mean, you can't, you can't bury what you did in the past. It's just kind of a dumb idea. And I've seen bands do it before, and it works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But I don't think your band is strayed too far off. I mean, obviously, like the Doom EP and Demonocracy are very different, but it's still heavy. It's still metal, and I don't know. So no, we won't totally abandon it from a live perspective.
Yeah, and again, I like seeing bands that even if it's like a shorter set, just trying to showcase what the whole band is about. Not necessarily just like the newest part, but just showing what you've done in the past and what you're doing in the future.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, just to wrap things up, is there anything you'd like to say to anybody watching this or anyone listening to this right now?
I don't know. Summer Slaughter is already almost over, so I'm sure by the time the interview gets out, there will only be a few more shows. But I don't know. Check out Demonocracy. Spread it around. Show your friends. And just, I don't know. Hope you like it.
I know I do. It's my favorite Job for a Cowboy album so far.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Once again, this has been Johnny from Job for a Cowboy.
Yeah.
This is that drummer guy, Josh Runquist. Thank you.